Okay, are we on? Yes, we are. Hello, guys. Wow, it's been 12 months since I have hit record and uploaded onto this channel. 18th of May last year was the last vlog that I popped on here, and here we are now, 12 months later. I did not even know I needed a YouTube break, but I think subconsciously I must have realized that it was sort of leading up to the end of a chapter or the end of the way that I wanted to run my business and do things. So, hi, welcome. If you don't know me or you haven't seen my face pop up on the feed for some time, my name is Ruby Lee. I am an Australian business coach, and I have now had my business now for 7 years. Prior to this, I was working in corporate in recruitment and HR, and I have organically documented my journey on many platforms, including LinkedIn, Instagram, and the podcast. However, YouTube has been the channel that has constantly been my wrestle, with like, am I fully in? Am I kind of in? Am I going to, go and document all of this stuff? And truly, I haven't been as consistent as I would have loved to have been in terms of not just consistency in terms of uploads, but just getting so raw and so real with what's happening behind the business and how I'm showing up these days. And I think this is what this whole significant chapter is all about. So welcome back. And I'm so happy that you've tuned in and that you're here. You probably see from the title what we're going to be chatting about today. And I cannot even, where do I even start? Here we are, we're in 2025. I know where to start. Last year was a really, really hard year on the business. And first world problems and all of that, I acknowledge it. But having been in business at that point for 6 years, I could really see for the first time in a long time that I was constantly trading a lot of my time to give back into the business. And I know that that's what you need to do when you start a company and you start a business. And especially for those of you that are coaching and services and mentoring related businesses, I know that you'll understand what I'm saying here. But 6 years in, every single day of the week for 6 years, I had back-to-back calendar calls. I was booked out, had coaching calls or meetings with my team or meetings with agencies or recording a podcast interview for my podcast or recording a podcast for somebody else's podcast, collaborations. Just my whole day was absolutely chockers filled with meetings. And I got to the end of last year, roughly around October, November, and it's around my birthday season. I'm, end of November baby. And I find like every time those cycles come around, birthday cycles come through, there's always this sense of, how did I go last year? What did I love about this last year, last trip around the sun? And I must say, I was very exhausted, extremely burnt out. Maybe it had something to do with also selling a property at the same time. Whatever the case was, I really got to this point in my life and specifically my business where I knew something had to shift and something had to change. I'd already put YouTube, this channel, on the back burner because I needed more time to literally deliver on my work. And I also really wanted to find a way where I could continue growing my impact, growing my income, and having a lot more time freedom in 2025. I was really scared to do this as well because I guess this is all down to belief systems, right? But I truly thought that if I did that, if I had less calls on my calendar and less calls in general and, not having a big team supporting the vision, then I would suffer financially or the business would go backwards. But in truth, our profitability levels weren't as high as I would have liked them to have been. A big chunk of our profits had gone to agencies and the team and support staff and all the things to set myself up for running a huge company. And then I just sat back and realized I don't want to run a huge company if that's what it means, because I don't have a lot of time in my day for myself. I don't have a lot of time in my day for my family. I've got 2 kids and my best friend who's my husband. And I just want a life where I can wake up in the morning and decide there and then how I want to live it, what I want to do, make money every day, not be obsessed about launches, have more joy and more freedom to see my friends and not feel guilty about it. I mean, isn't that the whole point? Have you guys seen that trend on TikTok and Instagram where it's like almost forgot that this was the whole point? And I feel like I was in that phase for 6 years. And don't get me wrong, I had so much fun. It wasn't like I hated the business that I had created, but there was something else, something bigger out there that was just saying to me, tapped me on the shoulder and was like, Ruby, it's time. Let's go here now. It's a promotion. It's less work. It's more money. You'll just enjoy it a lot more. And I made that decision, in November last year. I shut down a big mastermind of mine. I closed down one of my memberships. I said to a lot of my private clients that I wasn't going to be moving forward with their current contracts just because I needed some space. I also decided that I'd let go of a lot of my team, and they were naturally kind of closing off anyway. I mean, I love when seasons like that happen. There were people on my team who were pregnant and just wanted to not work anymore and to reassess where they wanted to be at. So it's all good, I think there were just a lot of endings at the right time for everybody. And you guys, I actually have the entire PDF that I wrote. It was a Google Doc, which I turned into a PDF on the 6 lessons I learned in 2024 and what I was going to bring with me in 2025. And I'll attach it in the show notes if you want to go and have a look at it. It's my entire business strategy and what I'm following this year. And in there, I talk about what I'm stripping back and where I am funneling my attention now, as opposed to where it was prior. And I mean, just little things, but big things, where I was thinking I needed to have all this massive production value content to be really seen on social media. And I'll give you a bit of a spoiler, which I want to really use this channel to give you like these little micro moments that's happening with my business and why it has been even more successful than any other year, in my opinion, is almost like I don't need that big production value. Like even right now, I have one light on, I have this other light that, lights up the whole room, and I have my Sony camera, and that's it. It's so easy, and I'm just going to upload it as is. And that has been pretty much a sum up of 2025. Anything that I'd overcomplicated in previous years, I'm really sitting with it now and going, why am I doing this? Why am I making this so difficult for myself? Why did I think I needed that when if I take that out, is everything going to break? So definitely go and check that out. I'll leave that guide in the show notes there. But one of the big things, big significant moments in this journey so far for 2025 and simplifying my business and being more successful than ever is on the 20th of December, I launched the guide that I've just talked about. And I put it out there as more of a, hey guys, like if you want a little look behind the business, go and check it out. It's, very low cost. And when you go and click into it, you'll be able to access my entire 20 plus pages of thoughts, beliefs, what I'm rewiring, my plan, some prompts for you. And that was it. I didn't really know how it would go, but as soon as I put out the link for the PDF, we tested the link, always test your links, at 7:53 a.m., I believe, on the 20th of December. And who launches something like this just before, Christmas and year end and everyone's doing stuff? But I was like, no, I need to do this. I need to put this out there. By the time it got to the afternoon of that day, I had made my first $9 passive income sale. And that was a huge indicator to me that big things were coming here. I can say hand on heart that since that day, there have been sales flowing in daily. And it started with the $9 PDF, and I promoted that for a good 2 to 3 weeks. We had Christmas with my family. I drove down the east coast of Australia. We went overseas to Hong Kong, and all throughout that break period, I was just talking about this PDF and this guide, and every single day, multiple times a day, people were purchasing the guide to have a look at it, to set up their own business plans, to have a look at where they could simplify. And by the way, it's May and we are still making consistent sales with that guide. And I am in awe of it. And so many people have fed back to me how much it's changed their perception of business and how it needs to be done. And since then, I have gone ahead to create 6 other guides, written guides. I have loved every single one of them. They each have its own function. You know, I talk about the plan, and then I talk about what I've cut, simplified, scaled. I talk about how I made my first $5,000 sale for corporates. I talked about how I launched my first mastermind. And as I've gone through each month and I've done something different in my business, I had this big epiphany that with everything that I'm learning, I need to put it into writing because I love writing. I really communicate really well whenever I write. And as I'm writing this out, I realize they're lessons. They are, gifts to my audience. They are ways that I can impact and help people grow and scale without you needing to pay thousands of dollars for coaching. You could literally go and purchase something for $7 or $17. And I know it sounds even weird sharing this on here because I'm so behind the 8 ball with passive income. I am not the only coach who's just suddenly realized, oh my God, I need to do this. But there was just this massive ding of I need to make this happen. And I had this rush and this urgency behind it. And I literally go down the rabbit hole. You're watching all the YouTubers do their thing and you pick and pluck the things that feel really good for you. And if you're someone who has come from this background of high ticket mastermind, one-to-one sales, retreats, and you're trying to find another way where you can open up another portal of income or another way that money can show up for you and support you in its best form, then follow along the channel because I've got so much that I want to share. Go and get the guide. There's so much in there that I want to share. But anyhow, I just wanted to reset my intention for this amazing space on YouTube, reconnect with the community. I'm going to go. My throat is getting dry. The aircon is blasting because it is May on the Gold Coast and it's still so bloody hot out there, but I hope you love the vibe of this so far. I will see you all in the next video. I can't even commit to how often I'm going to be posting. Whatever, we'll try. And yeah, okay, I'm going to go. I never know how to end these, so bye.